Hello and welcome to the Ep.12 podcast. I'm Anthony.
I am Dre. And boy, do we have a great episode in store for you guys. This is the second episode of season 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, which means we have our second guest. But before we introduce our guest, I do have something to get out of the way.
Uh-oh. What's
33-3, Anthony. How do you feel about that, man?
All right, we're moving on.
Oh boy, how bad did that burn? The Patriots just blew the Steelers out of the water.
I have nothing to say, okay?
No one expected that blowout, bro.
What one did. Yes, that was an upset, okay? I don't know, man. It's a rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's been rookie season for the past 5 years of the Steelers.
Past 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But anyways, I just had to get that out of the way because it was just too good. If you guys don't know, I am a Patriots fan, and Anthony, even though he has been living here in New England and in the Boston area for the past 7 years, he still chooses to be a Steelers fan.
Yes. Steelers all the way.
So we have this rivalry. And it's always good for me because 90% of the time we ended up beating Anthony, but not like it was last Sunday, which was incredible. But anyways,
always a close game, you know? But things always change.
All right, I got that out of the way. I just had to say that.
All right, and our special guest, we're so delighted to have him. He comes from this area, which is in Merrimack Valley. And we're just so happy. It's in Massachusetts, if those who do not know. So it's northern of Boston. And he's a co-founder and art director of a nonprofit organization called Elevated Thoughts. Alex.
What's up, dudes?
Welcome to the Ep.12 podcast, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Really good. Glad to be here.
That's awesome. Thanks
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for being our second guest of the podcast.
The first guest that we've had that isn't somebody that we've known for a long time.
That is true.
But somebody that's outside of our close friend group and stuff.
Cool.
So very first person that has ever come in.
I'm honored.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. It's glad. So, Alex, I just want to start off with a question. And you just answer whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah. All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. What do you got?
What is purpose?
What is purpose? My first thought is creation.
Okay.
Is purpose. I'm an artist, so that's kind of like an easy answer for me, but I think that answer goes for even the non-artist. I think you wake up in the morning and you start creating between the relationships you make, the things you do throughout a day. Mm-hmm. And through that creation that forms day to day is kind of where purpose is found.
Okay.
And I think a big reason why most people don't find purpose later on into life is because you haven't created quite enough yet.
That's a really good thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that's deep. I have to let it sink
I really,
in for a little bit. I'm like, wow.
Hold on.
Let me take a sip of the beer.
What is purpose, man?
What is life? Well, that was good. And do you remember when did you come to that realization that creation is purpose and the purpose of life is to create?
I think right when you asked me, maybe.
Okay, all right.
So it just came out of fly.
No, I think honestly the truth is when my daughter was probably born, I was probably at a point in my life where I was in my after college, graduated, kind of in those discovery years of career and what you want for your future, and I was in a place where I wasn't necessarily prepared and ready for a kid.
Okay.
But then having her and seeing her and just seeing that creation kind of hit it all home for me as far as God's purpose for me as an artist is to create.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And again, his purpose isn't for me just to create art, but to create something like a family, a legacy, whatever it may be, the relationships I can impact.
Yeah.
And again, back to like Elevated Thought and the artwork stuff, a big reason Elevated Thought has such purpose for me is because of what it's doing. It's not necessarily this design firm that's trying to just make a lot of money and make things look real good.
Yeah.
We're kind of trying to make a difference, social justice wise, and a lot of the things that go on in and out of Lawrence. You know, being that outlet for a lot of these kids that I know if I was a kid who had someone like Elevated Thought, I'd be much further ahead than what I was.
Yeah.
Got in way less trouble than I got in.
Yeah.
So kind of giving that back and again finding like my own purpose in that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So tell us, because I'm sure that probably a lot of our listeners are not familiar with Elevated Thought yet. So tell us a little bit more about what you guys do and then maybe how you guys got started.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's a cool story. So what we're a 501c3 like nonprofit. We're an arts and social justice based nonprofit. So what we do is we use the arts to kind of create a space and environment through workshops, through beautification projects in the city,
Right.
to kind of expose people to art and its power.
Yeah.
Again, I think a lot of kids nowadays are lacking in some of those resources, especially in a city like Lawrence. We're based out of Lawrence. And just being that kind of safe space for someone to kind of create, to think, and ask questions to themselves, like what is purpose? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are huge, important things that, you know, you should think about at some point in your life, whether you want to write books someday or never read a book. You should still ask yourself some of those questions, I think. We're based out of Lawrence. We have our office, our headquarters is in the Everett Mills on...
Okay.
Right on the road.
It's right down.
Yeah, literally 2 minutes away from here. If that.
I was going to walk, but then
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I'll drive. But so that's our headquarters. We run like an hour or two of homework hour after school, and then it's kind of like we run our programs, our workshops, which are all, again, based around social justice issues.
That's cool.
Using art to address those. And when I say art, I don't necessarily just mean like painting and drawing, but creative writing. You know, we now have a sound studio in our spot.
That's
so
awesome.
We
That's
have
really
some
cool.
kids that are working with our creative mentors to figure out how to make music and just allowing kind of those options for young people today.
So you guys offer a lot of things for them.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that it probably did not start like that.
No.
Yeah. What was the first thing that was?
So what's funny is it started, I was doing my senior thesis project at UMass Dartmouth for design, and I was creating a mural and then creating a book that went along with it that kind of broke down like the graffiti mural process and like its ties to hip hop, the history. And like through that book, you saw the evolution of the mural and kind of connecting those two things. What the mural was so much sorrow in the city. So that's where I get my Instagram thing. So it was kind of like a focus on the pain that I've seen in the city growing up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then using my art to kind of bring those things to life and force people to kind of face them and maybe think about them or talk about them. So I was doing this mural. I had some friends there with me that night. The executive director, president of Elevated Thought, Marquise Victor, my best friend, he was there that night writing poetry. Yeah, and it just kind of started like I was painting. We were like talking about those kind of issues. He was writing, and he's like, "Yo, this is Elevated Thought. Like, we need to like bottle this somehow and like give this to people." So that was in 2008.
Okay.
And then in 2010, we became an official like 501c3 and kind of really officially launched everything.
Yeah.
But within that 2-year time frame, to go back to your question, we were attempting to put out like poetry and art books. We were doing film reviews.
Wow.
Okay. We were so kind of just like all over the map with what we wanted to do, because we had the passion, but we didn't necessarily have the complete picture yet.
Right.
And things kind of just progressed naturally as some of our students started getting more involved in school. We ran our first pilot program at a school here in Lawrence.
Okay.
Where we came in, we ran our workshop. The kids kind of did a thing. We put together a mural for them at the end.
That's dope.
Yeah, it just kind of naturally went from there. A lot of like as we started getting certain students, they were dictating the issues we were discussing. Like it's never been like Marquise and I or any of our leaders for that matter putting these issues on them and saying let's talk about this. We've tried to develop an environment where it's like, what are you guys going through?
What matters for them?
Exactly, and like how can we use art to address that, or like show your parents or your teachers or your friends that these are things that you're like thinking about and going through.
Yeah, when you look at murals, like they're there. Like you can't just drive you can't just drive past them and like not notice it. You're always like, huh.
Yeah,
I wonder what that means.
And I think it's where me personally, like I'm lucky because it's catching on. Like the impact is catching on. You see all these mural festivals and these art kind of neighborhoods popping up in all these cities around. And Lawrence has such a rich culture and rich history that it's like, why are we not capitalizing on this
doing something with that?
Yeah, and really, we're not out here trying to do it for self-promotion. We're out here trying to
there's a difference between what you're doing and maybe just painting or maybe just drawing. But there's like an actual like you're driven by the thoughts and the issues that the kids have, and you're just going with how how you connect with the environment around you, the city that you're around, and that's just really dope.
Yeah,
that's cool. It's super different.
And I think another interesting thing is that the fact that you said that you grew up around here, the Merrimack Valley in Lawrence, right? And unfortunately, Lawrence does not have a good reputation.
No,
I remember that when Anthony and I,
much.
we were looking for places to live, and we said that we were going to move to Lawrence. Everyone was like, are you guys fucking crazy?
I'm sure.
Why the hell are you going all the way to Lawrence?
Even now, like people are just like, how it's
what
like
part? Where?
Yeah, where are you at? We're like South Lawrence or downtown Lawrence. That's where we're. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Don't you know that area that don't? I was like, oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then and then I was like, I have to go to. I'd started a job in Medford, and I was over there when I was starting. So I had to take the commuter route, which is like right down the street, right? And I was telling people, I'm like walking to the train and then taking the train to wherever I needed to go. And they were like, what? You're walking? How could you? Dude, you could get mugged there.
You're nuts, man. But I think that the interesting thing is that usually when I would say that a lot of people that might grow up in some cities like Lawrence, all they want to do in their youth is find a way out.
Exactly.
They just want to leave. They want to get out. But what happened that you decided to still be in the area and invest back in the community where so many people might have just wanted to leave and get away from?
That's a great question. I think because of the lack of it here. I grew up here. So I grew up in North Andover. That's where I was born and raised.
Okay.
So I was low income North Andover, but I was still in North Andover, like white privilege, basic lifestyle. I was always the kid that was torn between hanging out with the North Andover kids or hanging out with my cousin and my friends from the city.
Okay.
So like coming back to this city, it's always been like a driving force for just like my passion. I've always loved the city. And I think like not being so like essentially allowed to flourish there gave me more of a drive to flourish there.
Okay.
Right? So I was lucky enough to grow up the way I was to then have the resources I have, go get an education, and it just kind of really blew open my perspective and showed me that like I can accomplish things that I really care about and dreams, and I can do it right here in the city and like essentially give back to where I came from. I could make the difference to that kid who grew up like me, who loves certain things that maybe other people aren't noticing or feels like a little misunderstood, and like that example for him isn't necessarily there, or that example for her isn't there.
Yeah.
And I think bringing that back into Lawrence, and we said the thing, but I think Lawrence is finally starting to change that dynamic, or at least trying to change that perspective. And what's helping is things like an arts culture, like a more community-based culture.
Yeah.
So I think seeing it as a kid around the world and how awesome and cool it was, then saying to myself, like, wow, if I'm capable of this, like, I need to bring this back to where I'm from. Like, I need to do this where I'm from, and like show the people around where I'm from, like, dude, there's a big world out there.
Yeah.
And there's some incredible art. And if you allow artists to kind of flourish, you're going to see incredible things. And that's what you see in these big art festival cities and stuff like that. Not only is their communities improving, but their art culture is improving, their economies are improving in those individual cities.
Yeah, and not only that, but you see that, like, somebody cares.
Yep.
Like if somebody's throwing like this big huge festival and stuff, if somebody's like throwing up murals, if there's somebody that is doing something to, like you're saying, like beautify the city, somebody cares.
Exactly.
And one of the things that kind of kept us like, all right, we're okay with going to Lawrence was we read an article, I forgot who it was by, but it was somebody that's from the mayor's office, and she was pretty much just setting down the whole, I guess you can say, the law, saying, you know what we're doing here is trying to create a community that is safe, that we're trying to build up like mills and lofts from the mills and stuff like that, so that people can come here and feel safe and be okay. And it's like somebody cares, like somebody's here doing something about it. So that definitely would create community, would create something out of it. And I from me, that's what I saw. Like somebody cares.
Yeah.
And
Cool,
from you, like, kind of living so long in the Merrimack Valley, having such a connection to Lawrence, where do you see Lawrence going from here? What is in store, in your opinion? What is in store for the city of Lawrence?
Just like life again, like those type of stories of people are afraid to come to Lawrence. Like, I want that stuff to disappear. Like, there's, like I said, there's so much culture and history here. And like, when you think about how Lawrence started with the mills and the old world immigrant, it's doing the same thing again. It's now it's new world immigrant. There's like a ton of businesses popping up. Like people want to take pride in it again, I think. And I think you're just starting to see that with some of the organizations working together and just kind of the development that's going on both economically but also internally, like organizations, the nonprofits that are popping up. Yeah. So what I see for the future is just the continued growth of that. A buddy of mine at Elevated Thought the other day made a joke about how amazing it would be to step foot where some of the Renaissance people walked one day, like Plato or whatever, those guys. And I said, isn't it cooler if you could say that about Lawrence someday? Like, someday they look back and they're like, man, this like immigrant city has been through some stuff. Yeah. And like, look at where it has come. Now it's this like art culture, it's this like science culture, whatever it is, but these communities kind of coming together and being like, dude, if we want this to work, we can't just like fight all the time about the shit we disagree on. Yeah. Let's focus on the stuff we agree on and kind of move forward with that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. And I mean, and I'm sure that you guys play an important role in the Elevated Thoughts, with the kind of work that you guys are doing to really positively impact the lives of the youth here. I'm sure that the bright future that is ahead for Lawrence is in part because of the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah,
and
thanks, man. Yeah, so we have a phrase. We try to create not members or students, but agents of change. Okay. Right. So one of our programs we ran last year, C3, Creative Community Change. Okay. So again, just like focusing all that. Like, dude, this is your city to these kids. You know what I mean? Like, if you want it to be something, you got to stand up and do it.
Yeah. Changing that mindset of I want to escape to wait. I want to take pride in where I was born and raised and really help it to bring it to the next level. But not only do you help to run a non-profit organization, not only are you a super talented graffiti artist, but I hear that you're also really interested in beers, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's where it comes to the part of our podcast where we're going to try our beer of the week.
What we got?
And this week we have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, it is. We don't know. So let's see. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes.
Yes. We love you, Achila. A round of applause for our producer. Yes, thank you. So, Alex, have you ever had any beers from Nightshuft?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I was like, is that even a question? You live in Boston, you gotta know.
Because Nightshuft,
definitely one of the faves.
Yes.
I've never had that one though.
All the Peels. This is the one that
just came out.
Yeah, this is the one. So we saw their Instagram post right about the time that they launched. Can you give this to Alex? Pass to Alex. And this one's for you. And it was so funny because right away, the number one thing that people were saying on the comment section is, "Oh, this is just a Blue Moon ripoff." Because no beers can do orange peels unless they're.
I thought it was going to be like a tangerine beer at first. I'm pumped that it's like a.
It's orange.
Yeah,
and it's funny that we were
like
drinking
sour. Yeah.
And we were just drinking Blue Moon, so we are primed for this.
Yeah.
So the beer of the week is called All the Peels by yours truly, Nightshuft Brewery. we love you, Nightshuft. And it's a wheat ale with orange peel. So. Let me just pour it, and we'll go through the process.
The way that we do this on here on the podcast is we have 3 steps, where we look at it, say what we think it looks like, I don't know, any thought that you think of, and then
it's orange.
Yeah, legit. So it's clear.
It has bubbles.
It has bubbles. It's orange. It's barely a little hazy. Not even.
I was gonna say it's a little less cloudy than the Blue Moon.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
would say
Seems a
that
little
too.
cleaner looking.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's filtered definitely
a lot of carbonation because there's a lot of bubbles.
All right, let's smell it. See what does it smell like? Oranges?
The smell's similar to the Blue Moon smell.
Yeah,
it has that.
I would say probably not as prominent as the Blue Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
It smells a little sour.
Yeah, I was about to say
A little more orange, a little less beer.
Yeah, a little more orange than beer.
All right.
All right.
But now it's our favorite part.
Tasting it. So cheers.
Let us cheers.
It's definitely better than Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Alex, what are your first thoughts after taking this first sip of All the Peels?
Very good. Yeah, if I were to compare it to Blue Moon, it's better. It's a little like smoother. It's not so like, oh, I can't keep drinking this.
Yeah.
I feel like you could definitely. It
That's
just
true.
goes down smoother.
It has this like weird as soon as it hits your mouth, you're like, is this sour or is this bitter or?
But then it like calms almost, and it's just like, oh, that was
a
actually
smooth
nice.
finish. It's a very smooth finish.
It's
Yeah.
like there's so much flavor at first, and you're just like, I can take this. I like this.
I gotta tell you, the sourness, the slight sourness of the beer, kind of got me a little off guard because I was not expecting it. I kind of could tell that it was coming from the smell, but it's really interesting. I definitely, let's say, I enjoyed this experience more than a Blue Moon. There's a little bit more character to this beer than a Blue Moon.
Yeah, it gives you all the right, like it has like this round flavor where you get all the way around it and then it just drops off.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good way to
true.
describe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so good.
Starts off easy and then it's very full and then it ends smooth.
Yeah.
That's good. Alex, out of 5, what would you rate this beer?
I'm gonna go with a with like a 3.8.
3.8.
Okay, all right. We've never had a 3.8 on the podcast. That is the first one.
There you go.
Okay, 3.8.
3.8.
I'm not sure why I didn't get the 4.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay.
There's something that
Yeah,
needs
maybe
to
it's the sour. Maybe it's just a little too sour for my personal preference.
Okay.
But
What is, in your opinion, what is the perfect beer? The beer that you say it's all around either 4 or all around 5 that you
Yeah.
just absolutely love?
Can you come back around on
Yes.
that one? That's a tough one.
Anthony.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. But come on, man. All right,
Take
the
that.
episode is
about it.
over. The episode is over.
I gotta
We're
go.
done.
water.
What about you, Anthony? Out of 5, what would you rate this?
I'd say this is a 4. 4 point. No, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I think it's got that like he was saying, the character that I'm enjoying the character. I really like it. And for you, Dre.
You know what? I gotta agree with you guys. I'll say a 4.
You want to say?
I'll be the medium. I'll be the medium between. There you go.
Between.
Yeah, 4.2. I think if you were to calculate, it would be a 4.2.
4.2351.
No, but I definitely like
4.5.
it. Is this is not an IPA, right?
No, it's
Just an ale.
it's a wheat.
It's an ale. It's a wheat
Yeah,
ale. Okay.
which is similar to what a Blue Moon would be.
If I had to choose between a Blue Moon and All the Peels, I think I'll go towards the All the Peels.
yeah.
Maybe kind of like what we did tonight. I'll start off with a Blue Moon, something very bland, unfortunately. No,
I've been craving for a Blue Moon for.
Bland. That's rough. Maybe like
know.
expected.
Yeah, there you
right.
go. Okay, thank you. I would say a Corona is a bland beer.
beer.
But it's funny because that's what happens when you drink something so much, it becomes bland. Because I remember the first time that I had a Blue Moon, it was disgusting to me in my palate back then.
Dude, you were like, I can't handle this.
I couldn't have it. And now I now like either the very sour or the very bitter beers. But yes, anyways, this is a great all-around beer.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have it multiple throughout the day.
Yeah.
But coming all the way around.
Back around. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think for beer drinking, for me, a lot of attachment to it is the ambiance in which I drank it.
Okay.
Like this beer will now have a memory for me that I'll enjoy drinking it that much more next time I drink it.
Yeah.
Harpoon IPA has that kind of memory for me.
Okay.
Working valeting in the city.
Okay.
My brother was a chef. My now sister-in-law was a bartender at the
Okay.
time. So I
Nice.
spent many after shifts sitting at their bar drinking ice cold Harpoon IPAs.
Yeah.
So to me, like an Harpoon IPA just like sets me in like chill zone. Like you just got off a hard shift. You
Yeah.
didn't make any money, but you're like, you know what?
I know.
I had a good night. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that and Delirium. I love
Delirium.
It's one of my all-time favorites.
No, I haven't had a Delirium yet.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
It's you drink it out of even smaller like snifter than this.
Okay.
Because it's pretty strong. But
Really?
It's more of like a golden color.
Is it in? But Delirium, the brewery, is it in Somerville?
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. Was that the one that you went to? Actually, yeah. Actually, I went to it.
They only
Delirium.
sell it, I think, in the bigger bottles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more of
They-
like a champagne beer, I think.
Gotcha.
Really?
Like a
Gotcha.
dessert beer, yeah.
That's
Yes,
cool.
that's
I've
awesome.
never.
It's so good. Like you drink one bottle of that in a night, like you're straight. It's so good. It's like
That's so cool.
I gotta be honest. I've been trying to think of a segue into the next section, but I cannot think of it. So we're just gonna go straight in, change gears a little bit. But Alex, tell me. Unfortunately, the past, let's say, 2 years, almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
Actually, 4 years have been a tumultuous time in our country. A lot of things going on. A lot of different opinions. But I think that personally, one of the things that is definitely kind of sad to see is the lack of conversation that people have that have different points of view. But I wanted to know from you, how has the current political climate affected your work or affected your life?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah.
I hate politics. I'm
Okay.
not a big politic guy. From day one, I've always kind of hated it, and I think because I've always kind of grown up with this aggression towards authority.
Sure. Okay.
Like even as a kid, just like nobody telling me what to do. So I think that just grew into a natural hate for politics because
Okay.
that's essentially what they do.
Yeah.
But as an adult, you kind of have to become a little more aware and step out of your comfort zones. So if I were to say from an outside perspective, how does it day to day affect my life? It doesn't. But
Okay.
from a deeper thought perspective, like it's in my work every day. I think what better way to combat political poison
Yep.
than creating art and culture and combating those things with community and forcing people to have conversations they don't want to have and in that also forcing people to understand, like, dude, everyone doesn't agree, but that doesn't mean you are enemies.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool to have a calm conversation with someone and be like, this is where I come from. I understand where you come from.
Yeah.
We're from two totally different planets, but like we can realize that, like, oh wow, like there's much more to life than what is in my bubble of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, using art to combat and create those conversations and combat the negativity.
Yeah, it's I definitely understand the whole thing of trying to avoid politics as much as possible, because almost 4 years ago again, I didn't care too much about politics, but then I was a very different person 4 years ago. But when Trump won the election, I was just like, how did this happen? Because it was a joke back then. Like he's never he's a celebrity. He's never going to.
You were waiting for the next thing to be like, hey, and we're just kidding. Oh, he cheated or something.
Yeah. So that really kind of just completely engulfed me into that political world, and quickly I was just 100% into it. And it almost became, for a couple of months, all that I could think about, all that I could talk about. But let's say for you, someone that really is not as, let's say, invested in the whole political discourse, do you think that, and since Trump took office, do you think that those political conversations, those conversations where people from complete differing points of views, do you think that you had more of those kind of conversations in the past 4 years, or has it been just the same?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough because, like, the demographic that we work with at Elevated Thought is primarily Hispanic. Most of these kids are the first generation in their families to be going to school, to be trying to go to college. So, like, I think directly seeing their lives and trying to relate to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough because I think it's created more of a divide, but it's also created more of an awareness, because it's created people like you and things like In Your Heart. When that all happened, it's created such like a foundation of like, man, I gotta like look into this. I gotta figure out what's going on. And I think that's one of the healthier things that's probably come about all of it. People are being forced to like want to know more and understand more, and they're almost willing to put more out there because they're like, well, it's all fucked right now anyways. I might as well just throw this information out there and like finally maybe someone will listen to me, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess if I had to pick one or the other, I would say it's probably created more conversation than less.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this something that let's say the youth at Elevated Thought, is that something that they care about and that they want to discuss?
Yeah, of course they care about it. Their lives are more directly day-to-day affected of it.
Yeah, at school.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like everything they're going through, and that half the time they don't even realize is a result of government power and things like that. And most of us don't even. I know for me, even I don't realize how much is controlled by those things that directly affect me.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that they shy away from it, not at all. But I think it's pretty understood within the four walls of like, we're in here to like be open and listen to anybody, but we're also in here to like make positive change and
be consumed by that.
Exactly. Like we're here to be more human. We're not here to like pick a soapbox and stand on it and say this is what's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
AKA like what's going on social media.
Exactly.
Because if you only live, and
Exactly.
I can imagine that a lot of the youth there, they probably spend a lot of time on social media.
Absolutely.
And if
You can get drowned in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and I deleted Twitter because of
I
that.
don't blame
Because
you.
I just got drowned on that. I was having debates with people that were not going to change their minds. That whatever I said, no matter how many statistics I threw at them,
They read one article and they're an expert.
yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna. So it's great that you guys are creating that environment where even though that if they are passionate about it, they have a space that they can talk about it. But also if they're not, they can create art and talk about other things that are not as, let's say, related to politics, which unfortunately nowadays it seems like everything is almost consumed by politics. You go on YouTube, somehow Star Wars became about politics. As you can see, we kind of are big Star Wars fans.
I'm
But
100% down.
Like,
Can't wait
I-
for Christmas.
I know, dude.
I know.
December 20th.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good week.
did you like the new trailer? Did you watch the new trailer for?
How new are you talking? I've seen like a couple weeks back now.
Yes,
Yes.
that one. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
They're trailers. They make them look unbelievable.
I know.
I think it looks great. But
That's why I can't watch trailers anymore.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be Star Wars. They're
I hope it's gonna
entertaining.
be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be Star Wars. The last two, they were great. They had all the classic Star Wars jokes.
Yeah.
and-
Yep.
But then the deep stuff when you needed it. I think it's gonna be.
Are you talking about the last one, as in episode 8? The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
So thumbs up or thumbs down for the Last Jedi?
I mean, thumbs up.
There you go. That's what I'm talking
if
about.
you're a fan,
If
right?
you're a real
yeah,
fan, it's
thank
thumbs
you.
up.
That's what I'm talking
You
about.
may have some complaints here and there.
Yeah, but you
It's
you
what
enjoy-
you go to see the Star Wars. movie.
Exactly,
exactly.
exactly. That's awesome.
You get
Now,
what you want.
we completely changed topics, but now I'm really curious. What did you think at the end of the trailer, this latest trailer for Rise of the what's it
Rise
called?
of Skywalker.
Rise of
Yeah,
Skywalker. When Rey has that double-sided red lightsaber, what do you think?
The switchblade.
Well, I was waiting. I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
Because they every time they come out with a new one, I know
Yeah.
for me, my whole life, it's always like what's the dopest weapon?
Yeah.
What's the bad guy gonna look like?
Yep.
Like the new helmet.
Yep.
That's all that stuff that for me as a fan, like I need that in the next one. If you're just gonna give me like something I saw in the last two, like. I'm not going to be blown away.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, they're doing it. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. This is going to be great. It's going to be like everything I need in this film.
Yeah. Do you buy it though? Do you think that she's actually gonna go to the dark side?
No. How is he going to end that legacy with her on the dark side?
Yeah.
I know.
Back to political climate. Like, I feel like his entire message can't, at the end of it all, should be like, good prevails,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
That's true.
So
That-
I'm hoping that's how it ends.
That
But
is
she's
true.
gonna go through some serious turmoil because
That
So-
that caught me off guard. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that.
Dude, I'm just waiting for the epic lightsaber battle between Rey
that
and
thing you need. That thing you
That's
need.
all
in
I
the film.
want.
I am excited to see how the Emperor is going to play a role in this,
Yeah.
and how he's connected to Snoke, if he's connected to Snoke at all.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was like, what are you guys talking about? I have no. He's not a Star Wars fan whatsoever.
he's like flipping through his phone.
Like, all right, guys, come on, but change the subject. Do you have any other questions that you like to get out of the way to ask? Anything else? We have 5 more
So-
minutes.
Yeah.
I wanted to say
What?
something back on the art thing, the political climate. I think I said this once a year or so ago when we did a beautification project for the Buckley Garage in Lawrence.
Okay.
But art is not a privilege; it's a necessity, right? So I think when things like the political climate are so in people's faces and like forced down your throat to kind of talk about it sometimes, or to pick a side, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think art is what is one of the only things that's going to help to break that. Art isn't this thing that only rich people should be able to buy and say, I own this and it like made me think this.
Okay.
I think it's something like every person needs, whether you're left-sided brain, right-sided brain. Like, it forces like a narrative and a dialogue within yourself. So what better thing is there to get you to think differently than maybe a piece of art? Because you're not always going to listen to your buddy who's trying to just get in your ear about it, because you're so used to it. You're like, oh, Tommy, shut up.
Yeah.
I know you're a freaking, I know you're a Steelers fan. They suck.
That is true. And what has been the reception with the whole beautification of Lawrence project?
Yeah. What kind of feedback do you guys get?
It's been great. It's improved a lot. So I only recently became a full-time artist.
Okay.
I was bartending after high school, valeting, as I said before, doing everything. My oldest brother started a construction company. It was kind of like, I'm a contractor, but I need the carpenter, like you down. So that kind of was my bread and butter for the longest time. And art was always kind of like my labor of love.
Yeah.
And only now in the past year or so have I been able to make that transition. And I think it's because of the positive response that some of these things are starting to get. It's gaining that traction. They're seeing the difference it can make in communities.
Wow.
So I think that traction and kind of building off that has been positive, and what I'm trying to just continue to kind of
That's so dope.
move forward.
That is
That's
awesome.
so
I mean,
dope.
first of all, congratulations
I know,
on it, because I know
thank you.
that for artists, that is a hard transition to make.
Yeah.
It's something that, let's say, Ashley and I are going through right now with the
Yeah.
whole A Square Media business, is finding ways to take us over the edge so that we can go full time and do, like I said, that the labor of love, what we truly enjoy.
When I met you guys, I could tell, and that's why creatively, I think right away we all kind of like were cool and meshed, because it was like you said, you have those labors of love as a creative, and like you can't let that stuff go.
No,
You can't.
it's funny
And
because
it's not healthy to.
No,
Yeah.
I tried for a very long time. I say for maybe 4 years. I was like, you know what, this whole filmmaking thing is not for me. I'm not good enough. You know that whole
I'm not good
self-talk.
enough. Every day I say that. Yeah.
What? You think you're gonna
I mean,
what?
trust me, the pros out there.
Have you seen your work, bro?
Yeah.
What the heck?
What do you mean the pros?
I think you are one of the pros.
You're comparing.
But it's so true. It's like one of the things it's sobering, for, let's say, an artist that's just starting off. I consider myself just starting off. Is that even, let's say, the pro of pros, they go through the same things that we go through. They still get up in the morning.
Wait, they're humans?
I know,
What?
because we don't think
For real.
that. We look at their work, whether it's a movie or an incredible mural. We like, holy shit, I'm never going to get to
It's
that
discouraging.
point. Yeah. It's super discouraging. But then it's like you really start to, I don't know, you run across a YouTube video of a interview with some of those, let's say, pros of the pros.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy cow, they're human, and they go through the same damn thing that I'm going through right now.
It was what were the videos that you were watching? It was like the
Director roundtables,
Yeah,
with
director
like the
roundtables,
best directors of
The world.
Yeah. And I'm like, I think what really impacted me was when I saw Samuel L. Jackson say that there was one of the movies not too long ago, maybe like 5 years ago, that he was making, and he said that he got to such a state of paralysis that he could not get himself out of his trailer to go film the scene because he bought into the idea that he was not good enough. Samuel L. Jackson. No, not Samuel Jackson. Who did Fences? What's the actor that played in Fences? Oh man, it's not Samuel Jackson. Denzel Washington. Washington. Yes. Incredible artist.
You name Fences when trying to.
I know.
I was like,
Denzel.
What other movie did he do?
Man on Fire.
Yeah,
Thank you. Why
done
did
so
I
many
think of
different
Fences? What the heck? But Denzel Washington could not get
Equalizer.
himself out of the trailer because he thought he wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So there's hope for all of us.
Yeah. It's the thing too. You were saying before, conversations. Like, dude, we all have anxieties. Everybody goes through that stuff. Like, if you're just cool with people, like, you can get through it and keep doing your thing. Like, You know what I mean? And purpose too. Like, we're not, I don't need to be the mural artist flying down to Miami every summer doing these big murals next to Shepherd Ferry. Like, that doesn't need to be my place. Like, if my purpose and what God has planned for me is to nurture this city as much as I can, and maybe I do a couple of those festivals or whatever they may be down the line for experience. But
Sure.
I think when you stay true to the things you're passionate about, like being creative, you're gonna find more and more purpose daily in those things.
Yeah, that's so important. It's really finding the reason, the purpose why you're doing what you're doing for your passion. Because sometimes we can get so caught up in like, oh, I want to be the next biggest Hollywood director or the muralist that flies all over the world creating these incredible murals, and then but that might not bring you fulfillment.
Exactly.
It's not what you're created for. That's so true. But I have one last question, because we are right about that ending time
Threshold.
Man, I forgot the question I was gonna ask. It was a really good question.
Wow.
All right, here's the question. It's not the question that I originally was going to ask, but what was one of the biggest challenges for you to pass a threshold of going part-time artist into full-time artist? What was the last thing that you had to overcome to take that step into full-time, becoming a full-time artist?
Yeah, I think it's maybe corny and cliche, but it's so true. Like, you got to take the leap of faith. Like, I had to just say to myself, like, Alex, like, there's a purpose in this, there's a plan in this, and you need to just trust that and trust God that this is gonna be okay. Yeah. Obviously, you can't have blind faith, but you have to make logistical things. But I think the toughest thing for me was taking that jump of like, I may have 2 or 3 jobs lined up and some money to feed my family in line, but I don't know what project's coming next year at this time.
Right.
So taking that leap and saying, like, I don't know that and I can't see those things, but I'm never going to have control over that. I need to just let go, have this, I've done the logistical smart things I needed to do to line up as much as I could, but you can only take that so far. It's that last kind of jump that, for me and my family, that was the hardest. And still even, it's still pretty fresh. So there's nothing, I would never want someone to think either, like, there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 and then every night going in your sketchbook or going onto your computer and editing. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, that's for some people, but it's making the most impact you can and giving your life, fulfillment. Yeah. So you chalk it up to quality of life, and when it comes down to it, sometimes you gotta make decisions. Yeah, you gotta find what works for you. Mm-hmm. But that's awesome, man. Again, congratulations on making that, because I know that it's a hard leap to make. But before 10 years of swinging hammers, oh my god, spraying at night. 10 years, what? That's awesome. But tiring. Hey, before Anthony brings us home, I recently I was in Thailand. Yeah. And I could not help it but pick up this local candy. And I'm not going to show anybody else because it's still something. Thailand, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's Thai candy. Thai candy. It is made of a fruit called durian. Durian. How do you spell it? Durian, Durian. Okay. This candy, I'm just gonna set the scene for you. This not this candy. This fruit. Has such a peculiar smell. Only in India. Thailand. It's an Asian fruit. Okay. But it's very popular in Thailand and in Cambodia. But it has such a peculiar smell that they do not allow it in public transportation nor in taxis. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm going to throw this. What'd you set me up for? So I am going to actually grab a paper towel just in case. You can spit it out. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to. Our first guest could not go all the way in.
But yeah, we're just having our guests try it this season.
Napkin in hand.
Exactly. There you go.
That's all you need. You know, you pop it open, you put it in your mouth, and you chew it.
Recipe of King Power.
King Power. Yeah, King
By
Power.
King Power.
That is the name of the.
That's what it
Am I
gives you.
just going with this right now?
Just open it
By
and
myself?
Yeah,
by yourself. Oh, we tried it already. All right, let's see.
Oh, I smell it. I can tell why. Smells like old honeycombs.
Old. I don't think I've ever smelled old honeycombs.
I've never smelled old honeycombs before.
It's pretty gross.
Just wait. Just wait. It's just the beginning. It gets worse.
Don't breathe out.
Am I
though.
allowed to sign up for the napkin now?
Yeah, yes.
You can-
At any
You
time,
can do
man. At
anything
any
you want to
time.
do.
So thumbs up or thumbs off for
Thumbs
this?
way down. It's like eating a dried piece of grass with a beetle on it or something.
And this is why we give our guests a durian candy because of these reactions. All right,
yeah.
Anthony, bring us
Thank
home.
you so much, Alex, for being our guest. Our first guest
Thank you,
that
man.
isn't like somebody that's super close that we can just have conversation with, but our
Yeah.
very first guest that
Pleasure.
we've just met. You know what? It's been awesome. I think that we want you more, and I think our guests will probably want you more.
Yeah, I'm down.
So thank you guys so much for watching. If you've are on Spotify, are on iTunes, or on Google Play, just take a look at our YouTube if you want to watch the whole episode. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like button, subscribe if you like what you see. Let us know down in the comments what we can improve. Or if you want to be part of the conversation, maybe what you think of what purpose is, or maybe what climate is of the politics, and maybe Donald Trump, maybe Hillary Clinton. Let us know what you think. Again, thank you guys
Alex,
so much.
oh, wait, before we, Alex, if people want to find out more about your
Yeah.
work or Elevated Thought, where can they find you?
Yeah, so elevatedthought.org. That's our website. My Instagram is Sawro, SAWRO. And then our Elevated Thought Instagram is elevated_thought.
Awesome.
So yeah, anything you need, that website will get you there.
Awesome.
Nice,
Guys,
awesome.
make
Thank
sure
you so
you go
much.
check Elevated Thought and Alex's Instagram and all of their work.
Again, thank you guys for watching. Peace.